Hello, YouTube. I think we are live. Hello, hello. We had to unzip a little bit so you could see my fabulous Jim in the hologram shirt. Hello, impromptu live. I don't know if anybody will show up, but happy Tuesday afternoon, everyone, or evening, or morning, or wherever you are, or whenever you watch this on the replay, because replay crew rocks. Just wanted to come on. So everything is stacked up very close to me because I've been talking about. I talked to my declutter about how I've been working on especially over here. I've got some shelves that I'm starting to take pallets off of and go through. We did a big, like, 2.5 almost 3 hour declutter, and there's going to be more decluttering, but for today I decided, I was like, let's take a little bit of a late lunch break. We had some food in the fridge, and so earlier I just shoved it in real fast so I could save my lunch break and come on here and talk about my $8 Ulta haul. I'm very excited. I got a delivery from Ulta today, and they were having a coupon that was $20 off of $100. And it was good on prestige and fragrance. It was one of those coupons. So $20 off of $100. And I'm always saving up my Ulta points for when I want to have like a little just fun treat me kind of day. And I am planning on doing a Get Ratchet with Me where I use some of the new Morphe. I always want to call them Connect in Color, but that's what the MAC ones that they kind of look like are. These are, does it say what this is? The new palettes from Morphe, Chroma Connect or something. I would, like I said, I always want to say Connect in Color, but that's the MAC palettes. So I decided to get some things from the Morphe holiday release that I can incorporate into that Get Ratchet with Me when I film it, and that'll make it hopefully a little bit more relevant to the algorithm or whatever. And I there was a couple of brushes. I liked their brushes. I liked their old brushes with the natural hair bristles, but I also like their new synthetic bristles. So I thought I would just come on here for a quick little impromptu live. We're trying to do lots of content for October, and I wanted to come on and show you what I got for $8 after the coupon, and after applying my points, I paid $8 for all of this. So let's get into a couple of loose things. So the first thing that we have here are a couple of Morphe brushes. So these are the M107. These are a foundation brush. And let me go ahead and open this. I have a couple of these already, and they are a little like foundation paddle brush that's very flat, but I thought these would be really good for, I've got some things planned with some of my colorful foundations. So I thought these would be really good for colorful foundations to paint on, those foundations from Sunset Makeup, from Indie Beat, from Glisten Cosmetics. Also, I recently added this little baby. So this is from Makeup Forever. This is one of their little artist color palette. So this is one of their little cream color compacts, and I have 4 of these. So I have this colorful one, and then I have 3 that are more like concealers, blushes, and I thought this could be really good for painting these kinds of things if I wanted to play with these as well. So I've already got a couple of these brushes over here. They're just sitting here. Clearly I've got at least 2, and now we've added 2 more. I like this shape. I think it's fun, and I think it could be really good for some of those more editorial, avant-garde kind of things. So I did go ahead and add 2 more of these brushes to my collection. I have really been enjoying the Morphe, the new brushes. I do miss some of those cheap, like $4 natural hair bristle brushes. I know they're no Shiseido or whatever all the other fancy brands are, but they were so good. They were so good. I saw a Morphe 510, still the best highlighter brush out there. I wish they still made that. But then I got 3 things from their holiday collection. So they released a holiday collection. I think there might have been one other little bundle that I didn't pick up, but I went ahead and picked up this little bag. So this is a fun little glitter bag. I'll probably gift the bag or donate it. I don't, I've got so many little bags, and I don't know that I need another one, but this has some fun products. So this has got some tools. So I've been loving powder lately. I've really been into setting powders and finishing powders. And my hourglass, I'm trying to use those expensive hourglass a little bit more. And so they had one of these little poofs, and I was like, well, these, I wonder if I could use this with like the hourglass powders, because I was like, I bet I could get this, into those little pans. That's always the problem, is getting them into the little pans. So I was like, you know what, this is kind of fun. And then we've got some brushes. We've also got some silica gel. Don't eat them. Hello, Ellie Mae. Good evening in the UK. Hope everything is lovely there. It's very rainy and gray here today, so it's definitely a day that's good for staying inside and looking at some makeup. So there is the first, that's kind of a flat top foundation brush. And these have those fun red handles. And then we've got kind of a smaller cheeky cheek brush. And then we've got, I just cleaned out the garbage that's down there, but then there's a big envelope. There's something that came in an envelope. Hello, Alicia. How are you doing? Is it Alicia or Alicia? I always, in my brain, it immediately goes to Alicia Silverstone. So that's why I say that. But if it's Alicia, please feel free to correct me so that I am saying it correctly. Hello, welcome. Yeah, these are the new Morphe Holiday Collection brushes. And as we are getting started, here are the 3 eye brushes. All right, so those are those. Yeah, this little collection. In the intro, I was saying that there was a coupon at Ulta, and between the coupon and the points that I had saved up, I had a little shopping spree, a little moment that cost me $8. So all of this stuff that I'm going to be going over here only cost me $8. So I got two. I had already showed off the two flat foundation kind of paddle brushes. And then this is the first of the little Morphe holiday things that I opened up. It's this bag. Woo! There goes the bag. A Vive order today. Very exciting. Lisa Eldridge. There's one of her lipsticks that I am interested in. And then there's 5 brushes. So there's kind of the brush collection. Lisa Eldridge has a shade called Audrey, which is apparently one that she based on Audrey Hepburn's signature lipstick. And I love like vintage makeup and makeup history and things like that. And if you ever watch Erin Parsons on YouTube, she is, I think, the global makeup artist, or the director of global artistry or something for Maybelline. But she collects like vintage makeup. Now I've got palettes just like stacked haphazardly. This is all Gourmand Girls. This is going to be, Thunderdome at some point. The reason why I'm tipping over everything that I own is that if you watch Erin Parsons, she bought one of Marilyn Monroe's like classic red lipsticks. And based on like Technicolor and the photography of the time, Marilyn's like most iconic look, the like classic red, is actually an orange. And this is the closest dupe that she found for Marilyn's actual lipstick. This is by Revlon. This is a shade called Siren. And this is a bright, just like true orange. And I thought that was very cool. And then I was watching, I think it was another Erin Parsons video, where she was talking about the fact that Lisa Eldridge created a shade called Audrey, which is based on Audrey Hepburn's signature pink lipstick. So I'm thinking about placing an order with Lisa Eldridge at some point to get that lipstick. So that is the first of the Morphe items. It's that little kit with the brushes. Then we have this little goodie. This is a little set of little goodies. There's a setting powder. I wanted to try their setting powder, but if you were here for the declutter, I have so many setting powders. And so I was like, I don't need to buy a full size. But then when I saw this, I was like, oh, well, I know I like their setting spray. When I do the Get Ratchet with Me, I need a lip liner and a lip product anyway. So I was like, let's go ahead. And this has a little setting powder. So let's go ahead and try that. Yeah, let me know what you think of it, because I am very tempted by that Audrey lipstick. And her lipsticks are expensive, so I'm hoping that I will love them if I do decide to go ahead and pick up a Lisa Eldridge lipstick. So now the second item in here, this is kind of a small bottle of the Morphe setting spray. I do really like this. I've used this before. I don't use as much setting spray as I used to, but I do like this one. I think it's got a nice sprayer. So I thought that was kind of fun. And then, like I said, there is a lip pencil. There's some lip products in here. So there is the lip pencil. Very, very neutrally brown with a little bit of a pink tone to it, because then that matches with this kit came with a drip glass. Sounds very Mac-esque. A lot of people have pointed out that Morphe's new line has some things that are sort of, shall we say, reminiscent of Mac products. It's interesting that they call this drip glass because that's something that Mac has done for years and years, that all of their glosses are called glasses. They have lip glass and chroma glass. Well, now this is drip glass glazed. And this is in the shade Pink Mirror. So there you can see. So I think that sort of pinky neutral will look really nice with this. So this might actually be the lip combo that I end up using in that video. I did buy a couple of lip products. I think I bought a liner and a liquid lipstick. I may use the liquid lipstick, we'll have to see. And then the last item, so that's another little kit from Morphe. And then the last thing is the new palette. So this is the Naughty palette. This is their holiday palette. Can I open a box? Let me see. All right. Oh, and Alicia says both. So either way, okay. So you're good either way. Because I always immediately go right to Alicia Silverstone because I'm such a fan of Clueless. But yeah, as long as you don't mind either one. If you have a preference, feel free to let me know. But this is the packaging. Beautiful. That's actually like a molded the camera is like, I don't know what to do with this. I don't know what's happening. I thought it might be just a picture because the other ones have like a really pretty like picture with like a clear acrylic over it. But this is actually like molded metallic plastic, which is very cool. I'm loving that. And I like this color story. I mean, it's a little bit neutral. Morphe tends to be a little bit safe with a lot of their color stories, but there's a couple beautiful pinks. There's a couple really pretty peaches in there. I don't feel like the color on the cover and the color of the packaging really sells the color story that's inside. There's nothing that's like, I mean, this is kind of a berry red here, and this is kind of a maroon red shimmer, but nothing is like boom boom pow red like this is. So I don't know that but it's cute. It's Christmassy, so like I get that this is like the Christmas wrapping, and then here's just a nice, beautiful. So there's maybe a little bit of a disconnect, but I'm not mad about it. I think that this is pretty. I'm not going to swatch it because I have a whole bunch of stuff planned for that video to kind of talk about the new Morphe collection, because I'm excited to try and I'm excited to see if it's good. I have been already using the brushes and I really like the new Morphe brushes. I know there's a lot of people in the beauty space, in the makeup space on YouTube, their memories are long and they never forget any sort of assumed slight or anything. So there's a lot of people that are like, Morphe has been trouble since the very beginning, blah, 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 blah. Which I get. I get that. The people who used to own Morphe, Linda and somebody, I think their last name was Morphe, obviously doing terrible things, some of their shady practices, all that kind of stuff. But they are the ones who the company went bankrupt and now it's under new ownership. And not only is it under new ownership, but it's people that like the Morphes, it was a brother and sister team, and they had like borrowed so much money from them that they were like the biggest creditor. So then the judge was basically like, okay, this company, I guess you own this now. This is for you. And so this is people that like Morphe screwed over. So if you don't like Morphe, these are people that like Morphe screwed over and didn't pay their bills. So I liken it to, I mean, if you want to remember the things that happened, I think that's fine. But to like hold that against the new people, that's kind of like hating the people who live next door because the people who lived in that unit before were terrible. And it's like, but these are all new people. Like these are not the people that lived in that, but they live in that house. So then it's bad. I don't get that. I don't, that doesn't make sense to me. I'm not interested in that. But yeah, so that was my $8 Ulta haul. I think that Ulta, I do so little shopping at Sephora. I'm gonna have to go back because of that damn Danessa My Works Lightworks palette. I know I'm gonna have to pick that up. Damn it. But I haven't done very much shopping. Last year was the first year that I didn't qualify for Rouge. I haven't qualified this year. I haven't spent enough to qualify. Um, and really, the only thing that had kept me going for maybe a year or two, even before that, was that I bought a lot of skincare from there. And so that would send me above the $1,000 or whatever, because I do like fancy skincare. I've been sort of neglecting my skincare, which don't look at my face. I'm a blotchy beast. I've been having some reactions to some things. And so I've been like holding off on my skincare for a little while to try to figure out if there's something in my environment that's also like annoying me or whatever. So there is a little bit of that that's going on. But Ulta, their loyalty program is so much better. And so to get the two like paddle brushes, this little kit, this palette, and this little kit was $8 after a $20 coupon, so $20 off a $100 purchase, and then combining my points off the balance after the $20. So, yeah, very excited about this. So that's very fun. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for this little haul. There is going to be more content. I'm working on a Get Ratchet with Me right now. That's probably going to be my next video. Is going to be my look. Speaking of gourmand girls that are precariously balanced over here, my next video, I am planning a gourmand girls. What is it called? What is it called? The Makeup Thunderdome. I am planning a Makeup Thunderdome, but my next one will probably be my Get Ratchet with Me and my review of the Trapped collection. I do love Gourmand Girls shadows. I will say that not everything in the collection was 100% a winner for me. And I'm sad to say that. It hurts my heart to say that. But there is the Trapped palette. So this, playing with this one, is probably going to be the next video that's up on my channel. At some point, I'm going to schedule another live because we are going to do another declutter. Because like I said, I've been pulling things off this shelf and going through it, and I have been finding some treasures. Not that I forgot that I had, but they're kind of like out of sight, out of mind. So there's some things I'm excited to go through. Space NK when it comes to purchasing beauty over Sephora, especially the Sephora kids are wild. I I'm from North Dakota, and so I think we get less of that just because it's a little bit rural, and so it's a little bit um, not as cosmopolitan. Is that the polite way to say it? But I don't think we get as many of the fancy like Sephora kids. But yeah, I'm an Ulta fan all day long. But yeah, I found some little treasures. Like, anybody remember this? I need to do something with this. This is, I think it's just called the Ugly Palette. Oh, I think that's the back. Yes, it's called the Ugly Palette. This is from Likely Makeup. And I love this. I need to play with this. It's just been sitting on a shelf. But basically, this color right here is based on, I don't know if Pantone did a survey or how they figured this out, but they've decided that this sort of green tinged brown is supposed to be the ugliest color in the world. And so Likely Makeup took that shade and turned it into an eyeshadow and then created a bunch of other shadows that you could wear with it. So, oh, you know what? I am planning to do my Garbage Pail Kids look where I use the Tones of Turd palette. I could maybe bring in the Ugly palette. That could be fun. And then we've got the Sexy Red glosses. That's another Get Ratchet with Me that's coming. Is just kind of creating, I'm calling it my Garbage Pail Kid look. But I found a bunch of stuff here on the shelf that like has just been kind of waiting for me. The Citrus Punch palette. I Simply Posh, Angelica Nyqvist is always talking about them. I sort of liked this when I played with it a little bit, but I don't know that they're ever going to become one of my faves. There's something. Hello, CJ, right? Did I get that right? Yes, it's kind of an impromptu live, and so I was not planning it. I swear I am going to do more lives where they're actually scheduled so people can know in advance. But yeah, so there is Simply Posh. And then we've got some Made by Mitchell. I am doing a whole brand review of Made by Mitchell. This is their kind of photo frame palette that I've used a few times. I used that during Pride, but then this is, it doesn't even say the brand. Is this, I can't remember if this is Creature Cosmetics or this might be Vampire Cosmetics. That one that was going through all the legal battles where the one person like left, but then somebody else like locked. There was three of them, and like one left, and one like locked the other one that was still there out and was apparently stealing money. And there's all this kind of stuff. I know it's still going through the courts and stuff. And they basically told people that if you ordered, I think it was their Dungeons and Dragons collections, they told people, the one who got locked out told everybody to do like a chargeback. This is, I'm pretty sure this is that company. I think this is, it says on the back, it says Alchemy Mythosis. I, I mean, a lot of their stuff always seemed kind of white label, which isn't always bad, but in some cases it's a little bit sketch. This is one where the like palette top comes off. I don't always love that, but this is, I think this might have been a gift with purchase, or it might have been on super deep discount and I ordered it to give free shipping. So this has just been sitting. I haven't played with this. Maybe we need to bust that out. Some Ace Beauté. Does anybody remember? Pepperidge Farm remembers the Paletopoly palette. Do you remember this? I have the game somewhere as well, where it was like you could play a game to do your makeup, which I thought was kind of fun and kind of interesting. So this is kind of the color story for that. Kind of a pretty color, very 90s inspired. Love that. I haven't played the game, but I do like Ace Beauté a lot. And then I found something that I got at Hot Topic. This was something that I thought I had decluttered, but apparently I only got rid of the Nightmare on Elm Street one because I also have, I must have kept it just for the memories because it's the No Place to Hide palette. It's the Friday the 13th palette that they did at Hot Topic. And the reason why I was going to declutter these, I must have kept this specifically for the memories. I'm sure because I bought this way before Glamlight started doing actual like good makeup. Look at this palette design. Look at this palette design. Feral. Feral. Look at these tiny, skinny, super long eyeshadow pans. What is that? Now, I did do a review on an old version of my website. It's no longer up. But these eyeshadows were okay. They're not great. But they were okay. They were better than what I expected for paying $13 at Hot Topic or whatever. But I just kept it because this was before anybody was like deigning to do horror movie stuff. And so I do, and I have another one here that is the from It that they did at Hot Topic that I thought was kind of fun. I did a review of this on the old version of my website. Again, unfortunately not here. It was okay. I like the palette design. I think it's kind of cool. But so I found these as I was going through stuff, and I've started to like group brands together. So I have my pile of Gourmand Girls. I have another brand that I'm working on that I'm very excited about because I have done several Black-owned makeup brand videos on my channel where I've just talked about. It started with, if anybody remembers, like in 2020, flashing back when we were all in the throes of the pandemonium. And there was the murder of George Floyd in our neighbor. I'm in North Dakota. That was over in Minnesota. And all of a sudden, everybody was talking about Black-owned makeup brands, and they were trying to do the Black-owned makeup challenge, makeup brand challenge, all that kind of stuff. And I had loved the Black-owned makeup brand for a long time before that, but because that's how I found Jackie Ina, was actually her video on the Black-owned makeup brand. That's how I found Juvia's Place, was through Jackie Ina's video. And I still love Juvia's Place, but it was like core to a lot of my makeup for a long time. Found a lot of great brands through her Black-owned makeup brand challenge. And then like in 2020, a lot of other like creators, a lot of pasty creators like myself started doing it. And I noticed that for a lot of those creators, I mean, their heart was in a good place. But a lot of their like Black owned makeup brands consisted almost entirely of either Pat McGrath or Fenty. And I was like, some of them also had some Juvias, But among the among the Saltine Americans, pretty much all we saw was Fenty or Pat McGrath. I was like, first of all, she doesn't own Fenty. Fenty is a Kendo brand, so she owns a controlling interest. There is no question that Rihanna has made such a huge impact and really pushes for diversity in the marketing and in the advertising. No question that she's making waves, and that foundation launch blew people's minds and it got people talking about shade ranges, all that kind of stuff. Not that it wasn't important, but technically, if we're being technical, um, it's not a black owned makeup brand. And Pat McGrath, and now I don't know, I thought she owned Pat McGrath Labs, but now there's been a lot of discussion about how now there's stakeholders who have kind of taken over, and she seems to have pieced out to Louis Vuitton for that. Oh, that shenanigan. But I was like, Pat McGrath's doing fine. Pat McGrath is doing just fine. She doesn't need the promotion. She doesn't need. So the first video that I did was, I think it was 12, because I think the second video then was 8 brands, but it was 12 black owned makeup brands that aren't Fenty or Pat McGrath. Because I was like, okay, if the intent of this is to support small black businesses, black owned businesses, and all you've got is Fenty and Pat McGrath. I was like, I think, chew, but the target's over there. We're not doing the thing. And so I did talk about it in. Oh, how did I get started on this? I've already confused myself. Oh, that's why I was looking at the sec. Okay, we're back on track. Squirrel. Um, I'm so easily distracted. I should be tested for some sort of attention disorder. But it's more fun just living in, in the chaos. The reason why I looked back there is because, so I am thinking about doing another installment of my Black Owned Makeup Brands videos. Some of it, those are always sad because when I do a new one, I always do an in memoriam of old brands that I've already reviewed that are not around anymore. And unfortunately, we've lost some good brands. So that one might be a little bit sad. But there are some good brands that I hadn't talked about in previous videos, like DD's Signature is one that I've really been loving lately. But I also have, I'm excited to do a indigenous owned brand or Native American owned brand. I have 4 that I'm going to be talking about, 4 that I have found. Very excited. Now, the first one is it's a little bit of a one where people are going to be like, huh? But it is true. And that's Trixie Cosmetics. Hello, Joe. How are you doing? Nice to see you. Um, Trixie Cosmetics. Trixie is indigenous. And so a lot of people, she kind of laughs about it and she kind of calls herself a rich white woman, that she's become a rich white woman and all that kind of stuff. But she is Native American. And so she's going to be on the list. But I've also got 3 smaller indie brands that are all indigenous owned that we're going to be talking about in that video. So that's another video that's going to be coming at some point. I don't even give dates anymore because when I'm going to film and what order I'm going to edit things in, I never really know. So, but yeah, that's going to be something where we're going to talk about 4 indigenous owned makeup brands. Other things, there's going to be more declutters, like I said. I'm trying to decide when we do the declutter, you'll have to let me know what you think about it. Like I said, I've got stacks of palettes here. And I have 2 palettes that I'm just not sure what to do with. And they are from Ensley Rain Cosmetics. So Strawberry Moon, and then we have the Lands of Enchantment. Absolutely beautiful, obviously gorgeous. I bought these before they got into all the trouble with liking transphobic tweets and comments and stuff. I think actually on Instagram. I think it wasn't on X, but these are beautiful palettes. We don't throw shit away, but I haven't decided if I'm really am I ready to fully declutter these. I did a look with this that was stunning. Stunning. I'm so sad that it turns out that they're possibly owned by someone who's kind of shit and transphobic. I'm not happy about that. I'm not happy about that at all. Now I have told people, if you want a similar formula and similar kind of impacts, especially for these really beautiful, beautiful shimmers, Bella Beauté Bar. I don't know. You never really know all the kind of ins and outs. And I know that people work with labs and they have different, they have people who work with their stuff. But I imagine that labs, even if you're working or creating different formulas for different brands, if you've got a if you've got a base that you start with, they're going to be kind of similar. And I wonder if Ensley Rain and Bella Beauté Bar aren't made by the same company. Because it's not like they're exactly the same, but their stuff is very similar. Like the shimmers and like especially all of the like fancy like hollow chromes, the multi-chromes that they've been doing. I feel like what I'm seeing from the two brands, the finish, the way it swatches, the way it works on the eyes feels very similar, which is a beautiful, fabulous out for me of like, oh, well, then I can just use Bella Beauté Bar if I want that kind of boom boom pow hollow chrome kind of shimmer. But yeah, so that's when we do the declutter, we'll have to talk about these little babies because this is beautiful. I'm not, this is not to, I'm never going to be that person. One thing I really hate is when people will like criticize a product because they don't like the brand owner or they don't like whatever. And so they'll say, oh, well, the product's trash. And it's like, well, no, this product is not trash. The opinions and like transphobic leanings of the person behind this product might be trash. But to then just say, oh, well, this product is trash, because it's actually not. That's why this is such a hard conundrum for me, is that these shadows are actually stunning. The shimmers are stunning and beautiful and wonderful. Like this palette feels like it could have been stolen straight out of my brain. It's a rainbow palette with some really beautiful, beautiful, beautiful shimmers, but I don't get joy from it because the person who owns it is a transphobe, allegedly. Um, yes, I do. I am always on the lookout for good shirts because plus size men's fashion. I'm sort of uncomfortably non-binary, but I just look like a dude. I get it. When I'm out of my whole look or whatever. But so I was trying to find fun shirts, especially like 80s themed stuff, because I want people to understand that like gay. Uh, I want to signal that to people so they don't think that I'm like with the bad people in the bad place. So, yeah. So that's what's going on. So like I said, I've got tons of fun like things just sitting here in a pile in front of me and I just keep going through it. I had forgotten about this one. This is from Juvia's The Culture 2. So gorgeous. I haven't played with Juvia's in a while. I should bust that out for like a live or something. But so I will be doing more scheduled lives. I appreciate everybody who always stops in on these impromptu lives. I appreciate all of you. Everybody who said hello, Alicia and Ellie Mae and CJ and Joe. And did we have anybody else earlier who popped on and said hello? I'm not sure. At one point, I think it said up to 6, but yeah, so thanks everybody for stopping by. I'm gonna get back to work. My lunch break, I'm sure, is nearing its end. So I'm gonna go back to work, but look for more lives. And like I said, that Gourmand Girls Trapped palette, the Get Ratchet with Me, and the review is probably going to be the next video up on my channel. And then I've also got a countdown that I think is kind of fun, which is my top 10 worst slasher sequels, as well as 5 that I think are underrated. So we're going to look especially at like the big 3. We're going to look at Nightmare on Elm Street, we're going to look at Friday the 13th and Halloween. They got sequeled into oblivion and there are some that are really terrible. We're going to talk about the worst of the worst and we're going to talk about 5 that I think deserve another look. So, yeah. Yeah, I haven't been buying from Ensley Rain. I've been doing the same thing as I was like, I'll probably keep these, but I also don't want to do content that I'm like talking about because then I would have to like tag the brand or whatever. Um, uh, and so I'm just like, and I do sometimes have makeup play days just by myself. And so I'm like, so I don't know. I'm so torn. I'm so torn of what to do with that. But thank you everybody for stopping by. I'll try to remember my intro. This is, I always have to like get into the mindset. This is all the stuff that gets cut out of like the edited videos, is that I have to like run the script. What's the script? Where it's like, all right, that is the live. Thanks everybody for popping by. Replay crew, don't forget to leave me a comment down below. Give me that thumbs up if you appreciated the video, or if you think I am a monster, if you're an Ensley Rain stan that somehow wandered over here and you think I'm a loudmouth for being mad at Ensley Rain, go ahead and give me that thumbs down. It is all engagement. The algorithm isn't a picky bitch, and neither am I. And while you're down there, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and hit the bell icon so you'll be notified of all future uploads. I try really hard to have at least 1 video a week. My goal, I'm really trying to have 2 videos a week. I've been pumping out some content, so I hope you've been enjoying it. But yeah, so we try to have at least 1 video a week, and sometimes you might even get a bonus video. Ooh, Ulta holorific. If you'd like to chat, banter, or commiserate between uploads, all of my social media will be linked down in the description box below, including a link to my website. Just pretend it's here on screen, the world of champagne at janessaj.com. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for all the chats. I hope everybody had a good day. I hope everybody's doing well. I hope you're having a fabulous Tuesday. And like I said, look for more lives to be scheduled so people can plan ahead. I just am so random and it felt like a good time. So I just decided to pop on. But until I see you again, bye. And then we have the awkward ending of the stream. All right, bye.